Hi, welcome back, gentlemen, to my channel Chief Engineers Tea Time Talk. I'm Ramesh, and I'll be the pilot who will take you through this channel. It's been some time since I put up a video, bit unfortunate, but I was preoccupied with some other activities. Anyway, meantime, let me thank you so much for your patronage and all those comments and likes and shares. The topic for today is a very interesting one. If you all recollect, we all grown up listening to these stories that if the suction pipe of a fridge compressor is frosted, that means liquid is returning and it is very, very dangerous. The compressor will break. So, this is a topic I have picked up for today. We are still on the fridge topic. So, let us try and understand a bit more about this particular topic. Keep watching, you will find it interesting for sure. One of the most exciting sights for many of us is the sight of a glass full of beer, chilled beer, with water condensing on the surface. Now, let us just try and understand this phenomenon. Before we move on to answer the question, let's look at some basic concepts which might be quite confusing to many, myself being one of them, of course. The concepts we are going to discuss now form the backbone of many topics like refrigeration, aircon, boiler, just to name a few of the equipment with which we are very familiar. Now we all know that the atmospheric pressure is 1.013 bar. This atmosphere consists of water vapor and remaining gases like nitrogen, oxygen and other small gases. So the atmospheric pressure of 1.013 bar is actually an addition of the pressures of all these individual gases. Now the pressure of these individual gases is called the partial pressure. Okay, now just for our example and simplified understanding, I have shown that this, if Pa is the atmospheric pressure, which is 1.013 bar, this atmospheric pressure is the pressure which is the total of the pressure of water vapor which is in the air and the sum of all the other gases, for example oxygen, nitrogen and other carbon dioxide and other gases which are present in the air. Now for the purpose of this video, let us assume that the partial pressure, that means the pressure because of the water vapor which is present in the air is 0.04 bar. So I am just depicting this blue one is the water vapor which is here and this green one is the all the gases put together which is not water vapor. So that means Pg is the pressure of this green one, all the other gases, and this Pwv is the pressure of water vapor which is there in the air. So 1.013 is the atmospheric pressure which is the total of this. The actual pressure of water vapor generally in air will be anywhere between 0.01 to 0.05, and this is again an approximation. Basically it depends on the temperature of the air and the humidity of the air. Now let us have a close look at the steam table or vapor pressure table or whatever you want to call, with this example in mind that the vapor pressure at the moment is 0.04 bar. Now I got some liquid in this container, so let me presume that the temperature of this liquid is what? Water. Let me presume that the temperature of water is 29 degrees centigrade, right? So at 29 degrees centigrade, from this saturation vapor pressure table, we all know that the saturation pressure for water is 0.04 bar, and that is exactly what we have presumed to be the actual vapor pressure, which is also 0.04 bar. So at this state there's quite an equilibrium there, right? Now let's see what happens when we start heating up this water. As you keep heating up this water, for example you heat up this water to 36.2, you see for a temperature of 36.2 degrees of water, the saturation vapor pressure is 0.06. That means the present pressure of water vapor, which is only 0.04, is below the saturation pressure. So what is going to happen to the water? The water is going to evaporate. That means it is going to produce more vapors, water vapors, in the hope that the pressure increases to 0.06 and 0.04. But you all know that this is not going to happen, because this is just a free container open to atmosphere. So the atmospheric pressure being 0.04 is not going to change because a little bit of water has evaporated. So what is going to happen? The water which is evaporated will just dissipate into atmosphere, but the pressure of water vapor in the atmosphere is going to remain at 0.04. So as we continue to heat, more and more water is going to evaporate, but that is not going to make a change in the atmospheric pressure of water vapor. That is not going to change the pressure of water vapor in the atmosphere. So it will keep on going till we heat it to 100 degrees Celsius. Now when we heat it to 100 degrees Celsius, look, something is going to happen. The saturation pressure of water at 100 degrees Celsius is now 1.0133, which is now equal to the total pressure of the air. That means the atmospheric pressure, which is 1.0133, is now become the saturation pressure for water. So now what is going to happen? The water is going to evaporate, still going to evaporate, sure, but you can see a lot of bubbles being forming, and they are violently rising up and escaping into the atmosphere. So when the water was getting evaporated from here to here, it is still evaporating for sure, but we could not see it. It was a silent process. The moment you come and touch 100, you can see the bubbles. There is a lot of turmoil, and the water is just bubbling away to glory, and it is evaporating with great violence. This is the time we call it water is boiling. Correct? So this is the first time we are seeing something physically. We are seeing the water evaporating, some symptoms, right? Symptomatically you can see something is happening, the evaporation. Before that we couldn't see. Okay, now from this what we can understand is, when the saturation pressure of this water becomes equal to the real atmospheric pressure, that means the atmospheric pressure of the total air, right, water starts to boil. So that is the boiling point. Now let us look at another scenario. I am removing this water from here. Now let us look at this air which is in this square. The square is not a container, it is just a space. Okay, so now we already saw that this air has got water vapor and the other gases. And if I presume that this temperature of this air is, say, let us start from here, 43.8 for whatever reason, just for an example. Okay, now for 43.8 temperature of air, which implies that the temperature of the water vapor is also 43.8. Okay, the saturation pressure should be 0.09, but actually the pressure of water vapor is only 0.04, or in other way, right, for 0.04 pressure of water vapor, the temperature should be 29, but now it is 43.8. That means the water vapor is in a superheated state, right? So the water vapor which is in the atmosphere, when it is above the saturation temperature, is in a superheated state. Now let us start cooling this. As you keep cooling this, look at this, nothing is happening. It's just the air is getting cooled, water vapor is getting cooled. The moment you touch 29, okay, now the temperature of the water vapor, okay, suggests that the saturation pressure should be 0.04, and that is exactly what is the situation. So when the temperature of the water vapor touches this 29, okay, so that is the situation where Suppose this water vapor comes in contact with the beer mug and the contents in the container, which is beer, is chilled, which may be say at 10 degrees, right? Then what is going to happen? The water vapor is going to condense on the beer mug and you can see the condensate. So this is in short explaining you the phenomena of condensation, right? If you understood this very well, okay, let us just summarize what we have learned. When you heat the liquid, it begins to evaporate. This is a very silent process. But when the saturation pressure of the liquid equals to the ambient pressure, in this case it is atmospheric pressure, then we call it as the liquid is boiling. Okay, we call it as the boiling point. Then we also saw that when you cool a superheated vapor to its saturation temperature, it starts condensing. And then we also observed that when the relative humidity is less than 100%, correct? For example, when that means if this is here, temperature of the vapor is 36.2, okay, it should, the vapor pressure in the atmosphere should be 0.06, but actually it is 0.04. That means the air has got less amount of water vapor. So now we call this as this ratio of how much it should be and how much it is approximately what we call it as the relative humidity. So if the relative humidity is less than 100%, the vapor is in superheated state. We saw that this thing also. Now going back to the condensation, suppose I got a pipe, a thin pipe, and I got ice stuffed into this pipe, and the temperature of this ice is minus 25 degrees Celsius. Very much possible, why not? Of course. So whenever the water is cooled to 0 degrees, it starts becoming ice, but then you can cool it further down to minus 10, minus 15, minus 20. There is no limit for how much you can cool at the bottom. So you can go much below 0. So suppose the temperature of this ice is minus 25. So it's not very difficult for us to assume that if the ice is at a temperature of minus 25, right, the surface of this pipe is also going to get cold, right? The surface of this pipe is definitely going to be at a very low temperature, right? It can easily be minus 10. Why not? And we also know that whenever the temperature of any surface is 29 for this scenario, that means when the vapor pressure is 0.04, correct, the saturation temperature is 29. So if the temperature of this pipe is 29 and air is coming in contact with the surface temperature here, it is going to condense. Immediately you can see sweating on the pipe and it will start condensing. And we also know that if the temperature is below 0, the water which is got condensed and sitting on this pipe as droplets is going to become ice, right? So that means if the temperature of any surface is sub-zero, you are going to have a condensation followed by the formation of ice. So that's exactly, you won't be surprised that you will have a formation of ice on top of this pipe. This pipe will be, you can call it frosting. There's quite a dynamic thing happening here. This pipe is being cooled by the contents inside, and the ambient temperature of the ambient atmosphere, which is air, is actually heating it up. So there's this surface of the pipe is being cooled by the content and being heated by the atmosphere. So the resultant temperature is going to be whatever it is. No? So if the temperature is going to be more than 0, less than 29, which we can see that it's going to be definite. When you have this situation, the temperature is definitely less than 29. You are going to have a condensation. And if the temperature by chance, the resultant temperature is less than 0, you will have frosting. Now having understood this condensation business, let us now come back to our fridge compressor. We saw that our desired mean temperature is minus 20. So for this mean temperature to be minus 20, we also saw that the temperature of the freon is going to be at least minus 25. And by the time this freon is coming out of the evaporator, okay, in a superheated state, still the temperature is desired to be minus 20, because the freon is evaporating as say minus 25 and then getting superheated by 5 degrees, right? So something like minus 20 is the temperature of freon if everything is working all right. And this minus 20 degrees Celsius gas, freon gas, is actually coming to the compressor suction. Now, does it not remind us of something which we have just seen? We have a pipe, a thin pipe. The contents of the pipe is at a temperature of something like minus 25 or minus 20. Correct? You have atmospheric pressure surrounding the pipe, okay, which has got water vapor for sure. And in a marine environment, the humidity is going to be quite high, right? So this water vapor which is in the atmosphere is going to touch this pipe, okay, or the valve, suction valve, and the temperature of the suction valve can easily be 0 or below, because the freon is at minus 20. So if this suction valve of the fridge is below 0, what is going to happen? You are going to have a condensate followed by a icing. So with this background, now I leave it to you to draw your own conclusion. We have always been presuming or assuming that if you see frosting on the suction pipe of a fridge compressor, liquid is coming and the compressor is going to break. We have always grown by this type of logic. But now, having gone through this in a very organized way, it makes us rethink. Is it true? I leave it to you to conclude that whether we should continue to believe in this doomsday prophecy that if you have frosting on the suction pipe, the compressor is going to break. Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being with me. I just hope that you found this video interesting. If you really liked it, please don't hesitate to share, like, comment, and also put in your opinion or doubts. So I just observed that when you put comments or you share your doubts in the doubts column, it really opens up the debate. It is forcing me and others to think about that, and our understanding over that topic is also increasing. Who are sailing, wish you happy troubleshooting, and for all those who are preparing for exams or going for roles, all the best. Take care. Bye. Thank you.